What's up, guys? All right, here's my open letter to Gable Steveson. So I did text him the other day. He didn't respond. Come on, Gable. Hit me back, brother. So, you know what? 2 years ago, I think it was 2022, and Gable wrestled, it might have been 2023, he wrestled at the US Open again. And he looked great. He beat up on Mason Paris. And then, remember, he ended up not wrestling in the trials, and Mason Paris went to Worlds. And I felt like stopping him, talking to him, because I feel like there was somewhat of a similar path for me. And my take is that Gable should come back to wrestling. Okay? He's now tried 2 other ventures. I have no issue with him trying other ventures. I think it's great. Right? He did 2 other things that could be significantly more lucrative than wrestling, and they didn't go so well, right? Because it's hard to be great at things. He obviously was world champion in one thing that's as elite as it gets, and he went and tried to do 2 other things, and he didn't quite make it. Listen, there is no shame in trying other things and come up a little bit short. I have no issue with that. Okay? Now, so Gable really, at this point, I mean, I guess he could get a normal job, but I just don't see that happening, right? He could go try to fight, something he hasn't done yet, or he could come back to wrestling. Gable, I think you should come back to wrestling. And so what I wanted to tell him in 2022, and I just didn't stop him. I don't know why it was, or maybe I was walking the opposite direction. I don't recall. But in 2008, so for you guys who aren't historians, I graduated college 2007, 2 Hodges, wrestled in 2008 Olympics, and I decided to move on to mixed martial arts. And the reason I decided to move on was it was more lucrative. But, let me give you the but here. But back then, in 2008, from just wrestling money, not doing camps or other things, I made like $18,000. It was not a lot of money. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna get married soon, I'm gonna have a family, right? I can keep hustling these summer camps and stuff, make some money from that, but I would like to do something where there's a potential of me making more money. And I didn't see, right? In wrestling, that's the case now, but it wasn't the case. I didn't see it in wrestling. Right? So my thought in 2008 was, okay, I'll go fight. If I'm good at it and I like it, I'll keep doing it. If I don't, then I'll come back to wrestling for the 2012 Olympics, and I'll be poor and I'll figure it out. And right now I'm 16 years later, and it's like, I wish, one of my wishes, and it's funny because it's the camera, like, I wish that there would have been a system in which wrestlers would have been able to just wrestle back in 2008, right? And Henry and Daniel made the same decision I did, right? Because they were in the same exact position where they weren't making very much money, and they decided to pursue other avenues. But now in 2024, Gable, you can make a good living doing this. You probably can't get as rich as you would in WWE. You can't get as rich as you would in the NFL. You can't get as famous as you would in those other things. But from my outward appearance, it looks like you like to wrestle. It looks like you enjoy wrestling. You're obviously the best in the world at it. And you would have the opportunity to go down as one of the greatest of all time. Now, you missed a few years, right? Winning in 22, 23, and 24 would have been beneficial to rack up those titles. But at this point, you're still young. You still could be one of the greatest of all times. And yes, you might not be as famous, but fame is like, it's like, okay, listen, it's like, okay. Right? There's some things that are really fun about it and nice about it. Sometimes, someone will give you a free dinner or something to that effect, right? But then sometimes it's like, you go to a wrestling tournament, you got to take 150 pictures, and it's like not the most fun thing, but then it's like you're making a kid's day, and so that's positive, and maybe you feel guilty if you don't do it, right? But sometimes I wish I could just go and coach, and I was anonymous, right? Or I wish I could go out to eat and not get stopped for pictures. It's like, so, right, if you continued on a path in mixed martial arts or WWE, you'd probably be significantly more famous than I ever achieved. But it's like a good and bad. It's like, it's not the greatest thing ever. So it's like in wrestling, you can come back, you could do something you enjoy, you could do something you're the best in the world at, you could pursue all-time great status, and you could make something that is a very healthy living. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I would guess you could pull in, we'll say at least $250 million a year doing just wrestling things. That's freaking awesome. That's a great living, right? And then, I don't know, maybe go on and be a head coach, Division I. You're a great wrestling mind. So, since Gable Steveson wouldn't call me back, I figured I would just make an open letter to Gable Steveson of us in the wrestling community. We want you back. We'd love to have you back. I think it's the best path forward. I think you would pursue something you love. I think you're one of the greatest in the world at it. And I think you'd make enough money where you can be totally satisfied with life. So, if you want to talk any further, Gable, you got my number. Hit me up. Peace.